Well, good evening, gang, and welcome to It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn Williams, and I'm your host, and we're coming to you live from our beautiful studios here at BNN TV, and you're more than welcome to join us if you'd like. We're at 617-708-3290. There's the telephone number right there. Dave and the great staff of BNN are in the other room answering the phone, so please give us a call. Let us know what's going on. You know, if you have a block on your phone, like it says here, star 82 gets you straight through to us. I mean, there's nothing barring you from letting us know how you're feeling and what's going on. I'm sure everybody is like this with the election coming up. You know, I can't wait to turn my TV on and not have to see any of those kind of commercials. But you don't get them here at the Boston Neighborhood Network. So this is a good place to come and watch some TV for a couple of days to get that stuff out of your system. I hope everybody is doing well. Be safe when you go out tomorrow. Be patient. I know that there'll be people waiting. I know it's going to be long lines and stuff, but please do your civic duty. Get out there and vote. I know that the lines will be long, but I'll be down in St. Nectarius, down in Rossi Square, some of the day, greeting people and saying hello and making people feel comfortable, striking up conversations and stuff like that. So hope to see everybody tomorrow out and around in Ward 20. Us delegates will be out and about and helping people out with it. It's going to be a long, long day. Amanda's not here tonight. Amanda is out on location tonight, so she's not going to be able to make it into the studio tonight. So we miss her, but we'll certainly keep our thoughts in her presence because she's like me. She's studying hard and she's got some deadlines she has to make and there are priorities. Well, that's one of them. We want to make sure that Amanda gets everything that she got coming to her, and we're going to support her in everything that she does. I want to thank everybody that came out to Dedham, the Dedham Square Coffee House on Friday night. We had a great crowd of people. I saw some old friends that I haven't seen in years that showed up at this at my performance on Friday. First off, I need to thank Tim Casey and Andy Hollinger, who are my music mates. We've been playing together for a lot of years. Tim and I go way back to the beginning of Low Budget Records, which was 79 or 80, and 1979, 1980 was like the first release we had, and that was kind of like a long time ago. So, but Tim and I are still pounding the tunes out together. I'm scheduled up in the studio to help finish a couple of things that he's been doing. We got some of my stuff that's being processed and getting ready to be released. So it's been a long, great journey, and Friday was a great opportunity. If you haven't been to the Dedham Square Coffee House, Ray does an amazing job up there. Ray used to be at Perks out in Norwood on Washington Street, but now he's in the center there. He's running the music and managing the room and stuff, and he's going to be on the show in a few weeks to talk a lot about booking those shows and all that stuff. But what it is it's so comfortable. You're kind of sitting in front of the fireplace, and there's nice seating, and there's all the seats seem to be filled, and it was fun. It's a great place to play. He has a great PA there, so if you're interested in getting involved in playing up there at a great venue, go to their Facebook page. It's the Dedham Square Coffee House. Tell Ray we sent you, because it was a lot of fun. We didn't take a break. You know, it was one of those sets where, you know, we just kept the music going, because we didn't want anyone to get antsy and want to leave or something like that. So we played together for a while. Then Andy played a couple of songs, and I did some solo work, and then we all got back together again. And so it was a fun night. I want to thank my old friends for being there and listening, and new friends that we made. Thank you very much for visiting us up in Dedham. It was fun. One other thing I think I want to talk about is this Saturday is the very last Rosendale Village Main Street's Farmers Market for the season. Yeah. It's been 22 weeks of fantastic entertainment and live music, artisans, and of course the regular farmers market stuff, the salads and fruits and all that goodness. But I got to tell you, it was a great year of music. We had some fantastic performances. The great Bird Mancini was there. They performed. Mr. Kurt got out there and played. Jay Pageant came down with his amazing Opposite People's band. There's just too many to mention. I'm going to miss out on a couple. I know I am, but some of the highlights were, you know, here we have this amazing venue in the middle of Rosendale Square, outside, and Rosendale Village Main Streets is providing the opportunity for musicians and artists and stuff to really kind of do their thing. And they've kind of given me the ball to make sure the music sounds groovy, and it did. And it worked out really, really well. Mainly not because of the knobs I was turning, but because of the performances of the entertainers and the musicians, that singers and all that stuff that came down to share their wares with us. We're not having music next week. It's going to be too cold. This past week, they actually went and we're outside now. They actually went and got me a heater, one of those electric coil things to sit next to me to make sure that I didn't frost over. So it was okay. We made out okay, but it was a lot of fun. I want to talk a little bit. You know who's here? It's the place. If you hear some commotion and you hear some rumbling, the great Dan McCole is back from South Boston Arts Association. But not only that, but the gallery, the B&N Gallery, is featuring the South Boston artists, and there are a whole bunch of them out there in the gallery, and we're going to get an opportunity to go out there, and because of the magic of B&N, we're gonna pull a camera out there and go out and see what's going on in the gallery. So if you hear anything going on out there, it's because they're having just a great time. It's the opening. It's the opening night for the. I peek out the window. I see the general manager of the station is out there. So it's gonna be fun. I think so. We're going to get a chance to talk to Dan McCole again because he's just a good friend of mine. And then the ex-fire commissioner is going to come on. Paul Christian's going to talk. He's a great writer. He's got a book and some art hanging out there. So listen, you know, make sure you stay tuned and hang in there with us. A couple of things. We're really, really proud of our affiliation with the great Boston Main Streets program. Boston Main Streets is that volunteer-driven organization that helps revitalize the business districts around the city. There's about 22 of them around, and what they do is they form committees that work with the property owners, for instance. I mean, they have they give them the demographic information. They know what kind of what people need from that community, where they're going to get their stuff. Like if there's not a hardware store, if there's not the right kind of shop or tea shop or whatever that you need, that you're going someplace else for. Main Street works with that property owner to give them that demographic information, so they put that kind of business down on the first floor on the street level that will service the community. So that's one of the great things that they do. They also, once that business is in there, they have a design committee which is full of professionals that are architects, designers, painters, drafters, all kinds of different things to make sure that the front of the business looks great. So they do all that kind of designing stuff, and then they have a promotions committee, which throws all these cool events to have people come down and check out the new business district. They've been doing it it started in Rosendale Square, and I know they call it the Village, but it's always been Rosie Square to me, sorry. And the then great city councilor Tom Menino, who became the greatest mayor this city has ever had, decided that Rosendale had been in such a plight that they decided to bring this untried development plan to a urban setting, where they'll develop a board of directors that consists of people who live in the community, people who thrive in there, people who live there and raise their families, people who run businesses there, people who are a local shop who owns the local hardware or whatever, and professionals, lawyers, and some people that know how development works, can work through the city hall minutiae and stuff like that. They put them all together at the table and they talk about what we can do to make this place better, and they've done it. If you've ever been to Rosendale Square in the past and now you're going through there now, if I told you 10 or 15 years ago that there'd be a line of people waiting to get into restaurants on a Thursday night in Rosie Square, you'd tell me I was crazy. That's the case. It's now a destination, and it's a beautiful place. The next big event they're having down there is the tree lighting. It's the very first one in the city. It's the one that kicks off the holiday season. It's the Saturday right after Thanksgiving. I'll be there. I'll be hosting the event, and we'll have the Sacred Heart Choir. We're going to have people from Urban Nutcracker are going to be dancing. It's just a phenomenon. And yes, Santa Claus is going to be visiting, coming down Cummings Highway with the great mayor of the city in tow. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you. Make sure you come down. We want to thank the Main Streets program because they've been a supporter of this program and this building for many, many years. Speaking of this building, this used to be the power station for the MBTA. All you cats that go back long enough to know the rattler that used to run down Washington Street, this is where they got their power. And it went dormant after a while, and it stayed that way, and nobody used it, and it was kind of like just not a cool, it wasn't working, so they didn't need it, so it went abandoned. And eventually, B&N partnered with some great people here in this area. Urban Edge is one of them. They were great, and the Payette Company. And what we did was we developed this building into B&N, Boston Neighborhood Network. There's 2 state-of-the-art studios here. One of them is the one you're watching right now, Channel 9, which is news and information. Non-profits get to come on here, do live program. People can call in, 617-708-3290. If you want to join in the conversation. And you can bring your nonprofits in here, and you can bring guests in and talk about what your mission statement is and do all that groovy jazz, and it's kind of like a lot of fun to do live television. And the other side, they do some live television over in Studio A as well, but what they do over there mainly is that people get to do programming. People become members here, and they come and they do, they learn how to use these amazing cameras. They take Final Cut Pro, which is the industry standard as far as editing film together in TV shows. They learn how to do sound, lighting, and all of that cool stuff. They get to sign out some state-of-the-art cameras and equipment downstairs, go out and shoot something in the neighborhood, bring it back, load it up into the really neat Timothy Smith Media Lab downstairs with all these cool big Macs humming at all times. Edit it, and guess what? They put it on TV. That's Channel 23. So this is kind of like your place. This is where you can come and do your kind of programming, where you can come and get your questions answered. And the way you do that is you go to www.bnntv.org. Click on Jim Atwood's name, and he's the cat with all the answers. He can let you know where and what is going on. The other thing that's happening here that's brand new is a radio station that's airing as we speak. It is WBCA 102.9 on your FM dial. If you're listening to this program out there now, please drive carefully. We do simulcast, not simulcast, it's not simulcasting, it's a delay, so it's being shown later, so this isn't really live on the radio, but if you're listening to us right now on the radio, please drive carefully, and if you're running around Jamaica Pond, make sure you be careful and what have you, but thank you very much for tuning in and being part of our program tonight. Listen, we've got a great show tonight. I'm going to take a swift break and get my old buddy Dan up here so we can talk a little bit about the organization that's out in the gallery. Then we're going to take a walk out there and check things out. Listen, gang, you're watching B&N TV's It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn Williams. I'm your host. We're coming to you live from Studio B here. Listen, give us a call if you want. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Please do not go away. Well, welcome back, gang. Thanks an awful lot for hanging in there with us. We're having lots of fun here at BNN TV Studio B. We're coming to you live. My name's Glenn Williams. You're watching It's All About Arts. And right now, it's my great pleasure and honor to introduce back. He was just here a few weeks ago. Dan McCole, hello, boss. How are you?
How you doing?
It's great to see you again. How's everything?
Everything's great. How about?
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah. How about you? I missed your show the other night.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I wanted to go.
I know. You guys get open studios. You just had open studios in Southie.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it was as usual a great event.
It was a great event.
That's good. I mean, you're pulling people from all over the city to come over there to check out things. I hope you had some visitors.
They do come. Yeah, they first time in the building, and the first time in Southie, so it's a little experience for anybody that comes over.
Right. And, well, that's good. I'm glad. You know,
it's encouraging for the artists over there too.
Well, you know, you've got such a great community of artists in South Boston. I think sometimes people don't realize that there's even a couple of organizations, aren't there?
Yeah, well, there are. The Medicine Wheel and Artists for Humanities are located in the in Southie, and just individual artists too. But basically we started the South Boston Arts Association for the resident artists who live there. Also Fort Point Channel.
Fort Point is in there, yeah.
But we started it for the resident artists, so people who are sitting in their kitchen and writing and painting and
like most of us do.
Exactly. And we offer them an outlet, and that's what the big thing is, and they're appreciative of that, and also they deserve it. They deserve to get there. But you know, it's a scare that when people do that, they don't want it. They don't want anybody. They'd rather.
It's bearing your
soul. Exactly.
You know, and it's funny because you and I had a conversation earlier about how we view our own work sometimes. You know, and you are such an accomplished artist, and you're hanging everywhere, and people are vying for your work, for prints and originals and stuff. But even you say, you know, but maybe that ear, or maybe that eye line, or whatever. Exactly.
Almost every one of them.
Yeah.
I have maybe about 10 or 12 that I say I wouldn't touch it again, but that's about the size of it. But and it's a thing that I think everybody that's creative goes through, because you're sitting all alone and you're doing your work, and you just wonder, why would anybody want to consider what I'm doing?
I think that's because we're our own worst critics, you know, and we don't see the value sometimes in our own. That's why I'm so, if somebody decides to buy a CD or buy a print of mine, or feels it's worthy to own, I get that feeling. I go like, wow, that's great. It makes it's kind of the thing you're thriving for.
Did I ever tell you what the first painting I ever sold?
No.
I was down in Provincetown, and I was studying down there under watercolor teaching.
Should I ask how long ago this was?
Well, you can say it's 1951. Holy mackerel!
Holy mackerel is right.
So anyhow, I was a busboy in this restaurant. It was a nice restaurant, and a group come in, a woman, young children, and an elderly woman, and so I was bussing the table, and I was, by the way, I was working. I went to study that morning, and then come, with painting. And she said to me, "What are you doing in Provincetown?" And I said, "Well," I says, "I'm studying painting." She says, "Oh, really? Could we see something?" And I says, "No."
Are you kidding?
She scared the hell out of me. Why would you want to look at my painting? So then she was a good-looking woman, and
I was waiting for the hook.
I caved. And so I brought it out, and by the time I had 2 or 3 paintings in my locker, and I brought the 3 of them out. And one of them was really good. It was the best thing I had done at the time. And so anyhow, they're passing them around, and the guy come in who was packing the car, the husband, and he was sitting at the table, and he was sort of eyeing me, and he says, "What are you selling them for?" I says, "I'm not selling them."
Selling them?
He says, yeah.
Selling my work?
I said, "No, I'm not selling." So he said, "Well, if you sold this for," we were arguing back and forth, not arguing, but back and forth. I said, "I'm not selling them, period, that's it." So he finally says, "What would you sell this one for if you were going to sell it?" So this is back in 1951.
And you have no idea.
I said, $20. Yeah. I figured that'd shut him up. He takes 20 bucks out of
Here you
his
go.
wallet, and he goes like this, and I'm looking at my painting, I'm looking at the 20, and I'm in Provincetown for the summer and the delightful nights, so I grab the 20, and I say goodbye to my painting. Well, later on in the afternoon, after the family had gone, and everybody was, we're waiting for the dinner party to start, and so the bartender says, he says, what were you doing with the Fords? I said, the what? He says, the Fords. I said, the Fords. I said, what do you mean? He said, the party over there you were talking to. I said, oh. I said, yeah, they were, I said, they wanted to see my paintings. And the guy was a pain in the neck. I didn't say neck. And anyhow, I said, but he bought one of my paintings, my first painting I ever sold. So he said, Henry Ford Jr.
You're kidding.
Yeah, that's a true story. And I went down from there.
That's okay.
The first painting I ever saw was for the
Henry
Ford family. How do you like that?
Is it hanging in their vestibule?
Oh, I probably didn't make it out of the back of the car.
Don't say that. You don't know that.
Well, who knows? But anyhow, it's
a
a
great
fear
story.
that we have of being discovered that we have no talent.
Is it someone real coming along and going, are you kidding? Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what hanging your work out here.
We should be talking about
out here means.
The South Boston Arts Association was put together for the resident artists of South Boston, the resident people who, and we're to promote the arts all over, and it's taking care of all of the arts disciplines.
Well, tell me what it means to have people, they're coming outside of South Boston, past Andrews Square.
Yes.
To hang their work in a place like B&N here, and having their work being played on B&N. What does that kind of do for the Arts Association?
It's great.
Was it a hard sell?
No, it's great for the arts. Some of them were they say, well, gee, we'll do it and just, and like me with the Fords.
Yeah, right.
And they're thrilled with it.
That's good.
It's sometimes you have to drag them in, but they're thrilled when it's.
Well, I think it'd be a good idea if we took a walk out there and checked it out. What do you think?
Let's do that. Yeah.
Listen, gang, you're watching us live here at BNN TV and listening to us. We're going to take a walk out to the gallery. We're going to take a really quick break, and we're going to take a step out into the gallery and check out what's going on out there, okay?
Yep.
Listen, you're watching BNN TV's It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn. This is my good buddy Dan. Listen, we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Don't go away. We're going to go out to the gallery. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back, gang. Thanks an awful lot for hanging in there with us here at BNN TV. My name is Glenn Williams. You're watching It's All About Arts. But right now, we've taken a move out into the hallway here, out into the gallery space, and the cats from South Boston here. Hi, guys.
Hey!
The South Boston Art Association is the group that's being featured in our gallery today. This couple of months, right? I'm going to be here for a couple of months, and I thought it'd be a good idea if we stepped out here and met a couple of people. Come on, let's take a look around. First of all, I want to make sure that you take a look at this. This is Dan McCole's piece. Where is Dan? He was just inside. There he is. We've been talking to Dan. This is the kind of work that Dan does. He's a fantastic artist and a phenomenal portraiture. Look at this. He's good. One of his favorites that I've seen that I really, really enjoy, and you know it, is the Bill Belichick one. He's got a painting of Bill Belichick floating around that's really, really nice. Let's move through the gallery. Come on down, guys. Let's take a look. This is beautiful. Is Judith here? Yes. Judith, come here, hon. Hi. Take this opportunity. Hi, Judith. How are you?
I'm fine, Glenn. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Tell me a little bit about this piece here. It's called Wind-Driven Beauty. You're a photographer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about this piece. Where is this?
This is from the 6th floor of my building in 2015 during all those blizzards that we
goodness.
had.
Oh my goodness.
And that was-
I can feel it. It feels, I can feel the cold coming through my bones. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, Monique, that is downstairs
Yeah.
here, that's her favorite.
That's great. Let me ask you a question. Being you're a member of the Arts Association?
Yes, I'm treasurer.
What's it mean? What's it been like when the invitation came out to come here to BNN TV and show your work? Was it? I guess it was pretty enthusiastically received. I mean, was it?
Oh, yes. I thought it would be great. I was delighted to
It's
hear
a great
this.
opportunity. Yeah.
Wonderful.
I hope you had
Thank
a nice.
you for inviting us
No,
to do it.
this is something that we've fought to do and like to do. The great general manager of BNN, Curtis Henderson, is in the back. Hi, Curtis. Thank you very much for spending a little time with us. We appreciate it. This is something we want to do. Let's move through. Come on, let's move down here a little bit more. I've got to ask. There's one piece here that I really, really, really impresses me. This one here.
Where's Paul?
Is Paul here? There we, yeah, Paul, you're going to come on in a couple of minutes. Hi, Paul. How are you?
Very good, Glenn.
Paul
Thank you.
Christian, this is a great piece. These two pieces are yours here. Can you give me a little idea of what is that? A pence? What is it? Watercolor?
Well, this is a watercolor
Yeah.
on paper, and it's a Boston Police motorcycle, obviously.
Yep.
But I always thought that was a very strong graphic, the beautiful blue color and
Yeah.
against the white, and the Boston Police badge. And
It's great. Yeah.
I worked on the Boston Fire
Yeah,
Department.
you
for
have a
38 years,
have a
and
connection
over the
with them.
year, over those years, we had many interactions with the Boston
Oh, I'm
Police.
sure you've
and
met many of them.
I
Yeah.
have the highest regard for what those men and women do every day, and I just thought this was a very, very powerful
My
subject
son is
to
a
do.
Weymouth fireman.
Terrific.
I couldn't be prouder of him. Couldn't be prouder of him. I tell you,
That's
it's
great.
great.
It's
Yeah.
good to hear.
Let's move down a little bit more here. Come on, guys. Let's all bunch in here. We don't want to miss anything. Is Deb here?
No.
Deb's not here.
She-
Deb's pieces, I just love them. The way they look, and they're part of the city of Boston, right? I love it.
She's capturing it all before it goes away.
It's not going anywhere. If we have anything to say about it, right? It's not going anywhere.
Just changing.
Okay, let's move down a little bit more. I hope everybody. Anybody else here that's.
Tom?
Tom's here? Come on, Tom. Hi, Tom. Glenn
Hey, how are
Williams.
you, Glenn?
How are you?
Good, very good.
Thank you
yeah.
very much for being here. This is
my painting right
this
here.
is your
yeah.
piece here.
And that's a trip I took to Portugal
beautiful.
to paint, and it was out on an island off of Amono, and it was a nice sunny day, and I tried to capture the shadows on the side of the.
Now, did you plein air paint it? Were you
Yes,
outside?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
a real trick. That's a trick in itself, isn't it? With the light
With
moving constantly.
The light moving and to get the shadows, and it's an island with no cars or it's just people out there, and it was really exciting working out there. yeah.
Talk a little bit. You're a member over in South Boston. How long
Yes, I am.
have you been a member there?
8 years.
8 years. And what kinds of things does the South Boston Arts Association kind of provide for you? I mean,
have,
besides great venues like this to hang your work.
We have our own art gallery.
You do,
on
yeah.
East Street,
Uh-huh.
and also they have guest speakers, poetry reading.
Oh, that's great.
Book signings.
Oh,
we have
nice.
authors here, and There's a lot of excitement.
I came over and spoke to your group not too long ago, a couple of months ago, a few months
yeah.
ago, didn't I? Was it the same group?
Yeah,
That's
you were
great.
one of the guest artists
Yeah,
that day, yeah.
it's. I got to tell you, I love this kind of feel. Out. What's the medium?
Watercolor.
It is water. Do you prefer? Always been a watercolorist?
Yes,
Yeah. Well, I love it. I love it. Let's move down some more. Come on, guys. Let's move down. This is Judith. Judith again. Look at you. You're all over. What is this? Where is this photograph, Judith?
That is taken at the Old Mill Restaurant in Westminster, Mass.
Oh, okay. Do you always carry a camera around with you? Do you have a point and shoot just in case you run across
No, I
that?
have a cell phone, but no, I was there for hours on that one.
Really?
In the snow and
Good.
carrying my tripod.
Old Ansel
and
Adams
so
style,
on,
right?
you know.
And was it analog or digital?
No, that was digital.
Digital. Okay.
It was shutter speed priority.
Have you? Did you work through the analog stage too? I mean, did you use film for a while and stuff, and then
I
have to?
started with 35 millimeter
Yeah.
and so on, yeah.
Do you find that there's a different way to take pictures between using film and using digital besides storage? I think that's probably it, right?
Yeah, the joy of not wasting a whole roll of film,
Right,
paying
right.
for it.
Right.
With digital, you can shoot.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to bracket even in 35 millimeter.
Oh, sure.
And so it's so easy to bracket in digital, so.
Listen, I want to thank everybody. South Boston, thank you very much for coming. This is going to be Hank Dan. This is going to be here for a couple of months, right?
What's that?
This is going to be here for how long?
At least a month,
At
maybe
least
two. Yeah,
2 months. Listen, this stuff is going to be here for quite a while. So if you come right over to over to BNN TV, which is located on Washington Street, 3025 Washington Street, Boston Neighborhood Network, come on up and see this work. You know, we have a great camera crew, we have a great staff here, but they're not capturing. You can't capture the way these pictures look live. So listen, guys, thank you very much. Thank you, Southie. Listen, we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to bring Paul inside to talk a little bit more about. He's also an author. Listen, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Please don't go away. Well, welcome back, gang. Thanks an awful lot for hanging in there with us. You're watching BNN TV's It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn Williams. I'm your host. I want to remind everybody that this show will be up in a couple of days at our Facebook page, which is called It's All About Arts. Oddly enough, I mean, it's a pretty good name. We were lucky to find it. And our YouTube station. So what we're going to be doing is once we get, once we break the crowd out in there, we're going to be going back to the lab and stuff, and I'll be setting this thing up, and I'll let everybody know where they can go and see this. All of our other past shows are listed there as well. But right now, it's a great pleasure and an honor to introduce you to the author of the book that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and a painter and a drawer, a painter of several of the pieces out in the gallery. Paul Christian, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, Glenn.
Thank you for coming in. And first, I want to get it off the bat because people are at home going, "Wait a minute, I know who that guy is." You're the retired fire commissioner for the city of Boston.
That's correct. Yes.
Thank you very much for everything that you do and that you've done in your past. I think that there's not enough people who take time to stop and say thank you. And I think that it's important for you to know that there are us cats around that wave when you go by.
Well, we appreciate that. It's nice to have the support of the public.
But now you're an artist. What happened?
Well, I always liked drawing.
Were
I
you?
always enjoyed that my entire life. I used to do lettering, and in fact, it was funny when I was first on the fire department. I was down in the headquarters station, right on the back side of headquarters on Mass Ave.
Yeah.
Adjacent to the firehouse was the department paint shop. And Angelo was in there. He used to do the gold leaf lettering on the apparatus, and in between alarms.
By hand?
Yes.
No kidding.
And it was before computerized,
before the stencils and all
that. By
that.
hand, and in between alarms, I'd go over with Angelo, and he taught me how to gold leaf, and I honed my lettering skills.
This is your teacher, your mentor, was the
He
guy
was my teacher.
in the
so
paint shop.
In the paint shop, I was right next to the firehouse, so I learned how to do gold leafing. So I used to do the names on the backs of boats and trucks and store windows. So I always enjoyed drawing.
Was lithograph something that you really got into? I mean, lettering and stuff was kind of like the beginning of it all?
It was. And I used to paint the devices on the helmets. I don't know if you've ever noticed on the front of the Chiefs' helmets. They're very ornate. And I got into painting those, and it just grew and developed one stage to another. But I always was fascinated to watch people who were drawing or painting. I just thought it was terrific.
Well, that's great. I used to, when I worked for Gillette, we used to go over to Moon Island all the time.
Oh yeah.
To do our training and stuff over there. It was always a way for us to get this, because when you're working in a place that big, regardless of what your position is, if there's a problem, you want people to be able to be trained to respond and stuff. So I got a real appreciation of a lot of that kind of work. But before the gold leaf, was there ever an instance or a place in school? I don't want to go back too far with you, where there might have been some art or some.
Well, I went to Boston Technical High School.
Not a lot.
We had a very intensive drafting drawing program. I took art there.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I had art as an elective, but I really enjoyed the engineering drawing there. But when I really got hooked at painting at a young age, it was funny. I was sitting in a barber chair getting my hair cut. And a fella came in the shop, and he pasted a pattern on the outside of the window, and he proceeded to letter the barber shop's window, and I was just watching him, totally fascinated.
Yeah.
So
that's where the love came from.
Yeah, I just.
But now you're doing some amazing work. The patrolman's bike, I think, is one of my. I hung the show. And every now and then one will come up where I'll kind of stop, and I had to stop at that one because it's just so detailed and so beautiful. Where does your inspiration come? I mean, is it from past experiences, people you meet, places you've been? What are you doing?
Basically, yes, all of the above.
Yeah, that's
it
good.
is, and I like very strong graphics. One of my flaws is I get too fussy and too finicky, and I'm sort of too precise for painting in watercolor.
It's
but
tough.
That's just the way I am. I really like to sit down
it shows.
And there's a whole variety of watercolor artist styles.
Yeah.
They run the whole gamut.
Oh, there's the wet work, where you wet the paper.
wet on
People
wet,
actually dip the paper in water.
They do.
And
They
tape
do.
it down and go at it.
They do. There's another.
But I can tell that yours isn't quite that wet. Is it? You're working a little drier than that?
You're right. I am, but I'm trying to work towards
Are you
that.
spreading?
I'm still learning. That's
Yeah.
one of the things I enjoy about watercolor. It's an experience you're constantly learning.
That's great.
And you're experimenting, expanding, learning from others.
Right.
And that's,
Does the South Boston Art Association give you any kind of outlet for stuff like that, for learning and stuff?
it is within Dan McCole's group. That gives you
You're in his
exposures.
class.
I am.
Isn't he fabulous?
Dan's the best.
He is the
He's
best.
outstanding. He's
Yeah.
my ideal.
Yeah.
I strive to get to the level he's at. I'll never get there, but it's something to
None
aim
of us
at.
will. He's just so. But,
He's
but I think the journey to
inspiration.
get there is the whole thing. You know, you learn a new technique, you run back to where you work, and you try it out, and you mess up, and you throw that paper out, you keep trying, and you work at it until you ask the teacher, you ask Dan, you ask what's going on, and you finally get somewhere.
And it's enjoyable.
Yeah, it
you,
is.
you sit down. I encourage people. A lot of people come up and mention to me they might like to try it, but they're not very good. I encourage them, get started. You'll sit down. Before you know it, an hour or two has gone by, and you're totally relaxed.
And you feel good.
and you're enjoying it. And there's all different ways. You don't have to be great at it.
Yeah.
Just start and do it.
Now, watercolors is not necessarily my medium. I mean, I have a lot of brown paper at home, okay, because of mixing those colors and ending up with mud. But do you have a space where you kind of dedicate your work to, or are you a kitchen table guy?
Oh, I do. No, I have my
You have a gallery?
office at home, and that's where all my.
Your studio.
It's a studio.
It's not
and,
an office anymore.
No
it's
one's
a
allowed
studio.
in there.
Yeah, no, I like
It
it.
has
Yeah.
all my old fire department stuff, my
Oh, good.
art stuff, my drawing stuff, all my.
Good.
hobbies.
Now,
So
do
that's-
you work on a couple of pieces at a time? Is it something that you?
I do.
You do?
I generally do. I do have a couple in the works at any one time, so I can set one aside for a while and then pick up on another one.
Mm-hmm.
So I do keep a couple of them going.
Now, are you okay? This is kind of like my standard question, but I want to make sure I word it right for you. Are you seeking things when you're out and about, when you and the bride are out to dinner or something? Do you see something and you're saying, "Oh, I might want to paint that"?
Absolutely.
You know?
No matter where you are,
You're
you're
always-
constantly looking,
Yeah.
and you're looking at things differently now. You're
As an
looking at
artist, you do, don't
You're
you?
looking at the sky, you're looking at the water, you're just looking at the shapes, the
Mm-hmm.
tone values. There's just so much to learn of it, but absolutely, you're
Now, you
constantly
have a
looking.
beautiful house out here that you've painted. I don't think that doesn't look like a house from Rosendale.
No, I've seen a few like that in Rosendale. That's actually up in
actually beautiful.
Troy, New Hampshire. It's a farm, an inn that we have visited with the kids. It's up by Mount Monadnock.
Yeah.
And that was a night photograph I took of it. And it just looks so warm and inviting.
I was going to ask, do you work from photography? I mean, do you grab the camera and go pull out the phone and say, boy, that setting there I want to try and paint that? Or do you kind of try and...
I've done a lot with photography, but I do a lot of sketching where I'll just come out of things in
Oh,
my
nice.
head.
Well, really?
And
Okay.
then I will do some, one of the things I was told when I started taking the lessons was to keep a sketchbook in your car with you. So when my wife goes in shopping, I pull out the sketchbook and I'll draw cars, I'll draw people if they stand still long enough. But you're constantly looking at the shapes and the texture, the composition. And so I spend a lot of time just sitting in the car drawing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Are you in South Boston?
Still in South Boston,
Still in Southie?
yes.
Your whole life?
I am, yes.
That's good for you. Like I said, I was in Southie for a bunch of years working over at the Gillette company. Southie's changed.
Sure has.
I mean,
Very much.
there's a lot of change going on over there. I know that when I was there, it was very neighborhoody, very neighborhood orientated, and now it seems like these condominiums are just taking over Broadway, and just you get all these new people, these professionals that don't even go in to the Castle Island side, but hang out, there and get on the subway and head in town.
Well, it's been discovered.
It's been
a
discovered.
great place to live. It's been discovered. And
It's a
people wanna
super
live there.
place. The location is just incredible.
The location's fantastic. We knew it growing up there. We're on a peninsula, so you don't really get people driving through.
Right,
it's-
right. You don't get lost. You don't find yourself
unless they're
there.
lost. But, you have the parks, Castle Island, the
Yeah.
beaches,
Yeah.
just beautiful.
As a
over
kid,
there.
my grandparents brought me over to Castle Island and Carson Beach. Every other Sunday we'd be there, or we'd be down Lynn with my cousins and stuff, and we just loved it. It was great.
Yeah, it still is.
Yeah, it's a
Still is.
beautiful part of town. What are you working on now?
Well, I just completed the book.
Yeah, this I want to bring up. This is very, very cool. If we can get a shot of this. If we can get someone grab this. There we are. There we are. I know those two people on the cover
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this is your book. You've just finished this. It's out in publication. People can pick it up online or.
We're working to get it online. Right now, it's available at Wears and Wears at 634 East Broadway.
Selling right out of South Boston, right?
And Southeast owned down on West Broadway at 396 West Broadway. We're working to get it up on the website. It's been very well
This
received.
wacko, really. I used to know this guy because the parade started down in Gillette parking lot, you know?
Yes, that's
and
right.
I know this guy. The reason why the parade worked is
Wacko
90% of wacko.
and his wife Molly. When I was asked to do the book by the South Boston Historic Society, they were looking for someone to take it on. Me and a friend of mine, Marty Kane, he had collaborated with me on it. We agreed to do it. My first stop was Wacko Hurley.
Yeah, of
to
course.
go in and tell him what we had in mind and get his blessing.
Was there a lot of history searching and a lot of conversations about, do you remember when this happened, or do you remember when this, or this is the origin, this is when we started, the route changed? Has the route ever changed?
Oh, the route has
several-
changed
several
tremendously
times,
for
yeah.
a simple parade. In fact, that's one of the appendices in the back
Yeah,
of the book.
yeah.
One of the routes, if you're familiar with South Boston,
Yeah.
if you're no Ticknor Street, that's a small, narrow little street. In 1931, the parade went down Ticknor Street.
And now it's...
Well, right now it's Broadway, you know, going to Broadway.
Oh, I know
and
where the
around.
parade goes now.
Ticknor Street doesn't go down Ticknor Street, but they used to go by the chief marshal's houses, and that's how it happened.
I see. It had to.
And so the routes are very interesting. In fact, the original parades, the first one started at Q Street and Marine Park, which is
Yeah.
now Farragut Road.
Yep.
Went up through the length of South Boston, over the Broadway Bridge, into
Oh, my
Park
goodness.
Square, up through Charles Street, up to Beacon Street, up by the State House, down School Street, and into Adams Square. It was a heck of a route.
That's a parade.
It was a parade, and then in latter years, it was actually starting up at Edward Everett Square. We'll go down Columbia Road to Dorchester Avenue through Andrews Square, then do the traditional route. So the routes are very interesting.
Now, if I go to the South Boston Historical Society's website, will they be able to give us information on how to get this?
They should have information on how to get the book,
How
but
to get the
it's
book.
not online yet. Right as we speak, they're working to get it up online.
Paul, can you
So
make
people-
sure that we find out so that we can let everybody know?
I'd be glad to get that information to you.
Where they can get this information and how they can get this, because it's a piece of history. It's a piece of Boston history. There's no question about it.
Well, that's what we wanted to capture. That was my focus, was to capture what I remember of it, and then go back to the origins of the parade and how it's changed over the years.
Well, if you're
It's changed with the town.
a lifelong Southie person, and you've seen the parade from different levels, from different
Oh, I
eyesights,
have.
and
Yeah.
right up to being the police commissioner and realizing some of the issues that you'd actually run across during some of these.
Oh, yes. In fact,
God help us if there's a fire on B Street and you've got the parade happening, you know?
It's happened during parades.
Yeah.
We've had serious fires. We do
I can imagine.
put extra help over there during the parade just because of that
With
reason.
buckets, right?
Yes.
Paul, thank you.
My pleasure, Glenn.
No, really, thank you for being here. Congratulations on great work. I'm really proud of this book. I'm glad we've gotten a couple of opportunities to make sure people know about it. And will you let us know when we can tell people where to get it?
I certainly will.
Okay, thanks. Say goodnight with me, will you?
Sure.
Hey, listen, gang, thanks an awful lot for being here with us. You're watching BNN. You have been watching BNN TV's It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn Williams, and of course, this is my good friend Paul Christian. He's an author and a painter from South Boston. But get out and do something artful for yourself this week, gang. Really, we appreciate all of your support here at BNN. And like I like to say every week, please keep in the forefronts of your mind our mothers, fathers, sons and daughters, aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews on foreign soil. Please keep them in your mind. Get out and vote tomorrow. Be patient. Get in line. It's going to be a long day. I'm going to be down at St. Nectarius most of the day, so drop by and say hello. But listen, get out and vote. This is an important time of life. This is a big deal.
Sure.
Okay. Listen, gang, we'll see you next week, okay? Good night.